Hello guys, how are you doing? So this is going to be a tutorial on scripting in Roblox, but perhaps more importantly, actually making games. So I've been asked to do this video for a little while, and here I am making an attempt at that video. Now, first things first, make sure your layout looks something like this. So you go to the View tab, select Explorer, Properties, and Output. I have command bar as well. We're probably not going to use that this video, but make sure you have these three. Next, we're going to need to insert a script. So I right click on Workspace, Insert Object, and find Script. Now you see we have this beautiful code array in here for us. It says print hello world. I'll zoom in a bit so you can see that a bit better. Now, well, actually, let's just go ahead and run this, and you'll see this in action. So I click the drop down and select run, and hey look, there it is down in output. Now I could spend a few minutes talking all about this print command, but I think that's a bit boring. So instead, I want to talk about something that will be a bit more interesting. If you've done any building before, you're probably familiar with the idea of changing properties. We do this by clicking on the base plate part, for example, and here we can change its color like so, or its reflectance if we wanted. We can also, of course, do this from the script. So if we open this up, we need to access that part from the script. How do we do that? Well, we need its address or location. So we type game. Game refers to everything that we see in the Explorer window. So this is the top level of the address, if you like. I then type dot, and I type workspace. And as I type, you can see it's being selected here, down below. So I can just press enter, and it will auto-complete that for me. And then I type dot again. And whenever I type dot, that's like I'm saying inside of this thing. So that's like your file system on your computer when you have my documents /project/ whatever document you have in there, for example, or on a web page you might have roblox.com/catalog and so forth. So when I've typed this dot here, you can see all the things that are inside of the workspace and various other things that are associated with it. And I'm down at the bottom, you can see I've got base plate, camera, and script, which is of course what's inside workspace. So I'm gonna type base plate, press enter, and then if I press dot again, this time I'm getting a bunch of properties that are associated with that item, or that object I should say. And I can type transparency in, and of course I'm now accessing, if I look at the properties window, the transparency of base plate, and we can see that currently it's set to 0, which means that it's completely opaque, it's not see-through. We can then change that, we'll say equals 1. And if we then go and run the game, oh, it looks like it's disappeared, but it's still there. We've simply changed that transparency value, and I can go and alter it here like so. Let's go and end this test instance. So that's one way of accessing the base plate, but there's also a second way of addressing, which we can think of as relative addressing. So if we move this script, and instead of placing it just inside workspace, we can place it inside of the base plate. And then we can delete this line, and instead we can say script.parent. So we're saying the script that we're currently in, but instead of going inside of something, we're actually going outside this time. So the parent of script is the base plate. And then we can say dot, and as I type transparency, you can see it comes up. Now, if I hadn't typed this right, then I wouldn't even be getting this suggestion. So I know I've got the base plate here. And then I can say, let's do 0.5 this time. And run the game. And there you go. It's sort of like a translucenty effect. Wonderful. Right. So that's pretty cool. How about we can do this for any part, of course. So let's add another part into the game here. And we'll keep that script inside of baseplate, and we'll add another script inside of this part. And we'll say inside this one, script.parent.reflectance this time equals like that, 0.5 as well. Oh, equals, need that in there. And run the game. I can see both of these things have now taken effect because both scripts are referring to their relative parent. Now, of course, this only does it once, but if we wanted to add another line, say we wanted to set it back to 0 again, if we run the game now, you'll see it's just gone straight back to 0. But if we want there to be a transition between those two states, we need to add something called a wait command. And we type wait, brackets, and then we add in a number. This is the amount of seconds we want the program to pause for before doing the next line. So we'll try 1 second. Or we'll try 3 actually. This might be quite quick. And we run that. And we can see, and it should flash in yeah, there you go. Back to its default position. And we could do this a bunch of times. Let's change it to 1. And we could just copy that line and paste it down below. Oh, I've forgotten my wait command there. So add another one in. And I could do something like that. And then if I run the game, it's going to go on, off, and back in and out again, just like that. Marvelous. So hopefully that's got you familiar with the idea of accessing the properties of all these objects, because that's all Roblox Studio is. It's just objects and properties. That's all it is at the end of the day. So what else can we do with this? Well, here's something a little bit more advanced. We can add in a new object this time. How about we add in a rocket propulsion? Now this is a pretty cool thing we can use. It applies force to another object in the direction of another object. So you can see I've just added in another part here. I'm going to make this a bit bigger so you can see it properly. And if I go back to this part and look at the rocket propulsion, you can see there's actually a bunch of properties down here controlling the various speeds and thrusts that we want to apply. But you see this one called target, which is blank. If I click here and then I get this little item appear next to my cursor, and when I select parts, little blue boxes appear around them. I don't know if you can see that, but if I go over to this other part and select that, you see the target is now filled. It now says part, because that's the name of this object. This is part, and this is called part as well. Maybe I can change the name of this even. I could call this cannonball. That's going to be called cannonball. And I don't need these scripts that I had before anymore, so I'm going to delete both of them. I'm going to add in a script into rocket propulsion. And inside of here, what we're going to say is script.parent, and this time, of course, the parent of the script is rocket propulsion. And we're going to say colon, and this is a bit different now. We're using a function. And we're going to say fire. Now the fire function is unique to the parent object, the rocket propulsion. So you can't call this on anything. So if I said dot parent and typed in colon again and type fi, it's not coming up. There's no fire available anymore. So it's exclusive to the rocket propulsion element. I'm just using this to show you other applications, if you like, that we can use this for. So let's go into rocket propulsion and let's change up the thrust. It's at 4,000. Let's have 40,000. Let's try running that. And there you go. That is what rocket propulsion does. It applies force to the part and aims it towards this secondary part. And if I move this part around in the game while it's running, you can see it will continue to follow it. That's pretty cool, huh? So if you're going, hey, well, what's this function? Right, don't worry about that too much for now. That was just a demonstration of something. We'll probably look more at functions more in another video. For now, I just want you to be familiar with this idea of accessing properties through the script. Cheers. I think that brings us to the end of this video. We'll keep it short and sweet. See you in another video.